Friday night, Broncos country. Friday night. Welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, man. Jacked up, ready to go. Friday nights are always fun, man. It's me, Keith Brugman, your host, and always and only tonight, my co-host, Mr. Trevor Salzman, man. Welcome to the show, Trevor. How we doing, sir?
Oh, thank the goodness it's Friday. I'm going to say that right now. But no, it's been great. Been great. I think enjoying the Senior Bowl a little bit and Shrine Bowl and getting to see some of these quarterback prospects and just see who's the next Denver Broncos. That's what we want to see. So been a pretty exciting weekend and going to continue to be an exciting offseason. All these head coaching hires as well starting to wrap up. 2 of them just wrapped up this week. So time to get rolling. It's offseason time.
It is. Unfortunately for the Denver Broncos, for the Denver Bronco fans, it's been some of the greatest moments has been in the offseason because, well, the last 8 seasons haven't been the greatest, Trevor. I don't know if you know that or not, but we've struggled. And, boy, offseason is always hope and opportunity and possibility. Just like our good friends that are in our chat, the posse themselves, got to get in here and say hello to everybody, if you don't mind, Trevor. We're going to say hello to Ernie Mays over on Facebook saying, hello, Keith, go Broncos country only. We need a quarterback in any round. Take your choice. Maybe we even pick up a second somehow, Trevor, but any round, we need a quarterback. Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick also on Facebook saying, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the greatest Bronco podcast on earth, otherwise known as DBR. Kenny, K&K Sports Show, you guys are so fantastic supporters, man. I don't even know what to say about things like that, man. I'd blush if I had any pigment in my skin. That being said, I'm a little bit too on the Caucasian side to actually show just about anything. Kenny, appreciate you guys. And guys, if you appreciate fantastic podcasts like you're watching right now, you got to check out the K&K Sports Show. Man, they are putting out a slew of different broadcasts out there, man. It seems like every time I turn around, there's another show. So I guarantee they got something for you. Of course, they got that East Coast flair, and they're covering all sports. Check them out, guys. You won't be disappointed. Just like you're not disappointed when Pearl comes in and says, hi, Keith and Trevor. Hello, Pearl. So good to see you. Hope you and your horses are doing well. I know winter season, it's always the down season, and probably not getting out and having any beautiful rides. Springtime will be right around the corner. Good friend Jeremy saying, sup, fellas, go Broncos. Absolutely, Jeremy. Go Broncos always, man. And just like Ernie May says, go Broncos country only. Hello, Keith and Trevor. And hello to you, Mr. Ernie Mays. Michael Ronquillo, might as well say hello to him coming in here. Big orange and blue hearts. Clapping it up as well, saying good evening, Keith and Trevor. And good evening to you, Michael. Always great to see you. And once again, thank you. I don't know if I could thank you enough, but I know that you dropped some stars last time you were in here. Appreciate that as well. So, yeah, this is a spoiler alert. Spoiler. We are going to have one heck of a show on Sunday, guys. So you need to tune in. Kenny is helping behind the scenes. He's, directing, producing, you name it. He's got us all lined up for a fantastic show. Can't wait for Sunday as well. So, man, finally got caught up on all those comments. Trevor, I want to get over to something that you wanted to talk about. And that was some of the hires that we've seen around the NFL, especially just as of lately, man. Take it away. Kick it off. Who do you want to talk about first, sir?
Yeah, let's just talk about Dan Quinn. So the Commanders Obviously after Mike McDonald was hired to Seattle, we all thought Dan Quinn might be the front runner in Seattle for the longest time, and I was a little surprised that they kind of went in a different direction. But but I understand up and coming young defensive coordinator like McDonald. He's a guy that has had a lot of buzz around the league. Past couple off seasons. So Dan Quinn, just being the guy there with the Commanders, I think it's a great pairing with their GM Adam Peters, a former Denver Bronco, was in the front office for the Broncos back in 2015, 2016 season. So he would have been. I think that pairing right there is just really incredible. I think they're going to do some great things there. I think they finally got the right head coach there with the Commanders. Been a big Dan Quinn guy, and for the past couple coaching cycles, I wanted the Broncos to actually hire him. And he was top of my list. So I think that's a great hire for the Commanders. And then to kind of switch over to Seattle with Mike McDonald. He's a guy that again we've seen in the playoffs. He had a top defense past couple of years, both passing and run defense. Very very good defensive mind. Very very highly touted throughout the league. And I'm not surprised that Seattle went in that direction. In a way because again they love their defensive head coaches. But I think they just wanted a fresh face in there, and I think McDonald, I think he'll get the best out of his players, and he did hire Leslie Frazier today as well as his assistant head coach. Another defensive mind. Get ready for that defense to start being a little bit more another step up. All those defensive minds there in Seattle. So
Absolutely. And he's still got Pete Carroll advising in some capacity, I guess, at this point as well. So my goodness, they are stacked on the defensive side. Like you said, Leslie Frazier, a name I'm old enough. I still remember when he was coaching for the Minnesota Vikings at one point. So of course, he's been hanging out with the Buffalo Bills, putting together a fantastic defense for them as well. Swings over now to the Seattle Seahawks. So great hire over there. Kind of surprised that Dan Quinn went to the Commanders. Also, I think at some point, man, he almost had to take a job before he just no one ever came knocking on his door anymore, man, because he's been in this cycle multiple times. He's pulled out of some interviews. He's taken some interviews. He's passed on every single job and kept coming back to the Cowboys. I think it was time for him to take a job and for him to venture off. Good luck. Hey, the Commanders have the number 2 overall pick. Not sitting bad as far as that's concerned. Can certainly reset their franchise in a lot of different ways, sitting there at number 2. So, go ahead, buddy.
No, I was just say, what's interesting throughout this whole coaching cycle, though? Most of these head coaching hires have been defensive-minded head coaches. I mean, you got 3 offensive-minded head coaches that have gotten hired throughout this coaching cycle. So is the league going more towards defense side of the ball now with this coaching cycle? I mean, the past couple coaching cycles, we've seen offense. It's been offense. Now it's kind of shifted a little bit to more of a defensive-minded head coaches around the league. Just to me, putting all the hires together is what it seems like, in my opinion. I mean, you have Canales with the Panthers, you have Callahan with the Titans, and you have Harbaugh with the Chargers. You have 3 head coaches, offensive-minded head coaches that have gotten head coaching jobs this offseason out of 8 of them.
Yeah. Oh, well, let me ask you this. Who is the most I always said almost most famous. No, not most famous. The one that had the most successful first-time coach last year.
Ooh. Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. It resides in one of the biggest states in the union.
I have
had an Ohio State quarterback rookie as his
DeMeco Ryans. Yeah, that's true.
DeMeco Ryans, right? I mean, you'd have to give it up. DeMeco Ryans probably had one of the best seasons coming in as a fresh head coach into the league, defensive mind. And maybe that has something to do with it, man. This is my big sister coming in saying, "Good evening, gentlemen. How you doing, sis? Good to see you. Been a while since we talked. We'll catch up here. But thanks for jumping in the chat. we can catch up here a little bit." And then our good friend Scoops, also part of that K&K Sports, has What's the Scoop over there, guys. Got to check that out. I love What's the Scoop. Most interactive show. And, man, talk about intelligent, man. That guy knows his stuff from top to bottom, sport to sport. Scoops is on it. He says, "My guy, I'm 23 and remember Fraser in Minnesota too." Laugh aloud. Don't make that sound like so long ago. Well, I'm terrible with time, so I'm losing track. Days seem like years, weeks seem like hours. I can't keep a track of anything anymore. So I appreciate it, man. I guess it wasn't that long ago. I want to get to this though, man. There's one guy that didn't get a job, and he was up for defensive coordinator up in Green Bay. Want to talk about that a little bit, Trevor?
Yeah. Sorry, you cut out, Keith. What were you saying?
Oh, I said, I'm sorry, man. I said there was a guy that was
Yeah,
up for defensive coordinator in Green Bay. He didn't get the job. Do you want to talk about him?
yeah. Yeah.
Mr.
So,
Christian Parker.
Christian Parker. So you're still cutting out. Christian Parker. Yeah, Christian Parker didn't get the DC job with the Packers, and so I think it's a great chance, for Denver to keep him around the building again. He's a guy that was part of the Vic Fangio kind of tree here in Denver, and he was a guy that really, I think again, a lot of people respect him around the league. Again, just for me, I don't know. I see Christian Parker getting an opportunity right now, maybe with a defensive-minded head coach, possibly, just because he can use that experience. But I don't know that. I don't know how comfortable teams would be him running the defense right now, just with them being first-time head coaches like Drawn Mayo. Like again, he was certainly in the running for the Patriots DC job and for the Packers DC job. Again, he might need a little bit more polishing, a little bit being a DC guy actually calling the plays. That might be what Christian Parker may need if he goes somewhere else. But again, it's a home run for Denver if they keep him around because again, he's worked on a lot of great defensive minds. So you keep him around. If Vance Joseph, I mean, his seat's got to be a little bit hot, right, from where the season was this season. If Denver suddenly decides to move on from Vance Joseph, I would think Christian Parker would be a probably top of the list or near
Oh
the
yeah.
top of the list as far as candidates to replace him here in Denver.
Absolutely, man. We talked about it earlier this season. Sorry, I cut out and I reset, and I'm coming in on a different connection. So hopefully, I'm a little bit better for us now. That being said, man, Christian Parker was a guy that come at the very beginning of the season when, well, after Miami, I was like, do we let Vance Joseph just walk and allow Christian Parker to take the job? I was already up on that already. I'm going to get to Kenny's question in just a second. I do need to point out that I have a much older sister in Leanna, since she says, stop telling everyone that I'm the older one. So much, much older, actually, if you really think about it. Like, dang, they're in a different decade, really. That being said, Pearl says, we know us gals never age. We just get better. And that's absolutely true. I'm the stinky younger brother, so this kind of goes back and forth. Pearl, you got to give me a little bit of slack there. Kenny's coming in and he says, Keith and Trevor, I saw a trade idea that may just work for the Broncos. PS2 goes to the Eagles for edge rusher Josh Sweat and pick 22. Now you have 2 first-round picks and gain draft capital. What we were going to talk about this already. We had a write-up on our ad to start off, guys, and let's get right into it. Lot of trade about Patrick Surtain possibly not being a Denver Bronco as the Broncos try to move up in the draft, like a lot of people are speculating. So that being said, Kenny's got a little trade worked out here, gets us some draft capital, a couple of first-round picks. What do you think about a trade like this? And let's just talk about the trading of PS2 to begin with. Maybe we should talk about that to start it off. What are your thoughts, Trevor?
Yeah, so the thing with trading PS2s, you're going to have to trade more than just PS2. It's going to be, I mean, I did a couple trade ups with some of these mock draft simulators that are out there. And I mean, and I've really, done a deep dive throughout every single simulator because every single simulator has the trade value charts are different or whatnot. But for me, it's been like, it's going to cost PS2 and multiple first round picks to even move up into the top 3. And it's just like, I don't know that you're not a situation right now where you can just do that right now because PS2 is your viable asset. Like this team, yeah, did he have the great season this past season? No, but he's still your more viable asset. And plus, he's just a guy that he doesn't come around that often. He's such a great corner when he has help around him. And it's really hard to replace that. You do that, you make a trade, either top 3 or like what Kenny's suggesting, you're creating yet again another hole on your defense side of the ball where you should probably be trying to help build around Pat Surtain. So and I understand they have to pay him, but again, he's so young. And his upside is I mean, it's there. He's your next Champ Bailey of the worlds. If he can reach his upside and stay healthy and everything, he's your next Champ Bailey. So again, you're moving on that for sure thing for a maybe with a
Yeah.
pick if you trade up for a quarterback or whatever you're going to do it in the top 3. So for me, it's just really hard pill to swallow, and I don't think this team's there right now to just be able to trade assets away when you've done that for 2 consecutive off seasons in a row. And what's it shown so far? I mean, Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, what's it shown? It hasn't really shown much so far. So is that really succeed? Is that a plan that they should have going forward and that will succeed?
Yeah, but I'll push back on that. That was trading draft picks for the most part in order to try to get. I guess we did give up Drew Lock and a Draymond Jones and a plethora of other Noah Fant as well. You know what I mean? In order to facilitate that Russell Wilson trade. So I got to retract a little bit back there. I want to get your thoughts though. What do you think about Eagles edge rusher Josh Sweat? Is he somebody you're interested in? Do you think he brings anything to this table? Because really, we're talking about giving up that possible Hall of Fame cornerback. Are you getting anything in return in this trade with as far as a quality edge rusher? And then, yeah, you have a couple of gambles with some picks. Maybe you can fill with that. I know you're a big guy. Hey, you want to fill this roster. You want to make this defense better. You want to build around different parts and pieces, not just chase the quarterback. This seems like it's kind of up your alley, bud.
Yeah. See, and I think that's an intriguing offer. I would be intrigued with that because I think Josh Sweat can be that double-digit sack guy. Could be, but again, you have to also think about in the draft. There's a lot of those that are right around that pick, anyways, in the draft. I mean, at pick 12, again, if you move back, you're probably in position to do that, anyways. There's a lot of edge rushers that I really do like that I think can be better than Josh Sweat. And again, I think he's under. I think he's under contract for another year or 2 or something like that. But then you're gonna have to pay him premium money again. And he's older. He's older than PS2. So I mean, it's an intriguing offer. I will say that it's one of the more intriguing offers that I've seen. But I push back on it just because this team needs to get younger. Denver Broncos are one of the more. Their age is just like they're more older teams in the leagues right now. You got to start finding a way to get younger. You talk about the Detroit Lions. Well, what are they doing? How are they doing? They're getting younger.
Yeah.
Hutchinson, Porta, Gibbs. They're getting young players in the draft, young controllable players in the draft. That's how you have to build. Doing this with trying to trade up for veterans, like again, we go back to the whole Russell Wilson and Sean Payton thing. My thing is you're trading for guys that are established. I understand, but you're trading draft picks away, and you're just handing them out like it's candy, like it's Halloween. That's what I'm saying. It's just where's that gotten this team to this point in time? Like that's where I'm at. You can't just keep doing that and expect this team to start getting back to the playoffs and to be successful. That's not a winning formula in the NFL.
Like Halloween candy, just hand them away like they're Halloween candy, man. Pearl's coming in. I know that she's felt this way. She says, I say do not trade PS2. One thing that I searched for, now you're saying, we're not getting any, we need to get younger. I'm not any younger. I tried to search it out, but there was talk, I remember mid-season, about Pat Surtain Sr. tweeting out saying, free PS2, stuff like that, trying to basically facilitate or get into the idea that, Pat Surtain II needs to move away from Denver. I don't know if that has anything to do with all of a sudden this rise and talk and speculation now that PS2 is somewhat more shoppable. I would hate it that PS2 doesn't want to be here, but if deep down inside it's being talked about, within the chambers of Dove Valley and not being exploited out into the media, that he would like to find a different home, well, then that brings all the more rise to what we're talking about today. Scoops always coming in with fantastic thoughts, comments, ideas. He's saying, good evening, y'all. If, number one, Denver keeps Russell Wilson with a new head coach, or 2, Broncos get number 1, but trade PS to get that pick, and obviously Caleb. Or 3, Broncos keep the current pick and go Sean and Stidham, maybe a pick QB. Which do you go? So we got Russ with a new head coach. We get the Broncos getting rid of PS2, getting that number 1, and probably, he's saying, obviously picking Caleb Williams, or just riding it out, Sean Payton, Stidham, maybe a QB pick in a later round, probably.
Is there a fourth option to that? Because like I'm not exactly huge on any of those, but no, again, ideally you would like this team needs to try to keep Russ, but again, it's not going to happen, and you're not firing Sean Payton. So if I had to pick one, I would go probably with 3.
Yeah,
but
okay.
again, I would more or less trade back per se, and not take a quarterback at 12 just because. I mean, if you truly believe in that guy and he's rising off boards and you think he's going to get picked if you move back, then yeah, I understand that logic. But yeah, I don't really like any one of those 3. But if I had to pick it would be probably 3.
I'm good with 2 or 3, 2-ish. I don't know if I'm that high on Caleb Williams. I like, we were talking a little bit before we got on air. Sorry, everybody who was waiting us out and wondering when the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast was going to go live on a Friday night. But we were having a little bit of a chat before we went on air, and I'm not as high on Caleb Williams as I think a lot of people are, to just put the rubber stamp number 1 on him. That being said, this is what I worry about. Hopefully, you're never picking this high again. You brought in Sean Payton, so you're never picking this high again. So if there is the opportunity to get the guy, the franchise guy, the guy that you are going to hang your hat on for possibly the next decade as a quarterback, long after Sean Payton's gone, I think you need to go up and you need to get that guy. If that's what the scouts are telling you, if that's what the GM is telling you, if that's what the head coach is telling you, if you guys are like all locked in and your guy is there, then yeah, you're moving on. And hey, I'll give it up. I listened to Let's Talk Broncos with Mr. Kurt Valente the other night over on the K&K Sports Network. Fantastic show. Came to a little bit of reason, I felt, on that show. Because he did talk about the fact that there's a possibility of moving on. And if you're going to move on, if you're going to say, hey, we're going to let Russell Wilson roll out the door and pay however much that we're going to have to pay in dead cap over the next couple of years, and we've brought Sean Payton to come in here and fix the organization and get us winning again, are you really going to say, but you don't get to trade up to get your quarterback? You can't do that, though. You have to do it with a 12th pick in the draft or later. Maybe you'll have to do it with a 3rd rounder. I mean, at some point, you got to say, if that guy's there, you got to get him. And so that's why I'm okay with number 2. But I also understand number 3 as well, because at some point, from the fiscal responsible side of me, says, we need to get right. We need young talent. We need 1-year contracts on guys on prove it type of deals. You know what I mean? We need to probably get in front of this cap over the next couple of years. And if we're going to do that, we shouldn't be chasing anything. So there's 2 sides to this story. It's where you want to land on this one. So I love Pearl was coming in with a similar comment as you, saying none of the above. She's all up for keeping Russ and getting a younger quarterback in the later rounds. She likes a JJ McCarthy. Yeah, and I agree. She was jumping in talking about that fantastic Let's Talk Broncos with Kurt Valente. It was a great show. So went down. I started rambling. What are your thoughts on that, man? Can you handcuff Sean Payton after you're already letting him, dictate the fact that Russell Wilson, and can I say this real quick? Love doing this with Trevor, because I think we can come to terms that there's not a very good likelihood that Russell Wilson is here next year. And hey, we got to start thinking about option B at this point. So Go ahead though, man. What are your thoughts behind, like I said, handcuffing or allowing him, or do we need to? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, again, I I wouldn't handcuff Sean Payton, but I think that the whole relationship between that GM and that head coach is so important because you have one guy who in George Payton who wants in their GM who wants to trade back and get more picks. You have one guy in Sean Payton who sometimes is overly aggressive to get his player. You
Mm,
have to come. They have to come to terms together. And I understand you want to get your guy, but you got to be reasonable with the price it is to get that guy. And again, so giving up your next, your first round picks for the next 2 years, how did it work out for the Panthers? I mean, they went up and got their quarterback, but what did they have around him? What do you have around a Caleb Williams or whoever whatever quarterback that you would take there in the top three, whatever if you say you go to trade for top, get the number one overall pick, what do you have to build around him? Like that's my whole thing is there's just so many different holes in this roster that you got to be in a position to do it. Look what the Chiefs did with Alex Smith. They were in position to do it. They could take that strike and they striked and they got Mahomes and they let him sit behind Alex Smith for a couple of seasons and then they put him in there. That's why I say like just throwing a rookie quarterback in there with no options, is that really gonna get the best out of him? Is that gonna? I mean, I understand rookie quarterbacks have growing pains, but is that truly the best answer? To me, it's not, because look, you've seen with the Panthers. And so I wouldn't handcuff Sean Payton, but he needs to be mindful of where the rest of this roster is at. Hey, you're just not a quarterback away.
yeah, I get that, man. I just play. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. If the guy's there, you don't see anybody in 2020, the 2025 draft that you like necessarily, and you're sitting there and you're like, man, we are sitting there at number 12. Hopefully next year we're sitting at number 20. You know what I mean? And how much tougher would it be to move up to get our guy then? I mean, you only have so many opportunities. We've let things slip through our fingers in the past. I don't want to be behind this. I don't want to be, retrospect. I don't want to be 2020. You know what I mean? Hindsight has that 2020 vision, man. So Martin has a question. Has any team successfully rebuilt their team with no draft capital and no money under the cap? Closest I can think of was the F them pick Rams that successfully ran to a Super Bowl. Also put themselves in a heck of a cap position and competed for the playoffs when everyone counted them out. So very competitive team and a team that continues to do well regardless of what they do with picks or cap, it seems. I know Tampa Bay had a heck of a bad cap position this last year. They ran it all the way into the playoffs. So, I don't want to say that Tampa Bay's obviously rebuilt, as we don't know what's going on in Tampa Bay as of right now. But that being said, I think there's opportunity to still put a winning team together in those situations. I have answers for Martin. And by the way, Martin, thank you very much. Not only are you tuning in here, you're giving us great questions and great content, but he's over on YouTube and he's already entered on YouTube for our giveaway. And the way you guys do that is you head over to YouTube and you type in winner. And then I write your name down. And we're going to be giving that away soon. Again, 1998, John Elway, 12.5-inch starting lineup figurine. And of course, a little training camp souvenir as well that you guys will like, a little autographed training camp souvenir. So thank you very much, Martin. What are your thoughts, man? Any teams come to mind?
No team that came to mind to be successful, but a team that came to mind where the draft capital and their cap was really just in a bad position. That's Sean Payton's former team, the New Orleans Saints. They're continuing to still be in cap hell right now. They are way worse than where the Broncos are at, and that's down the road. I mean, that's why I'm really worried about Sean Payton overspending per se, and that's why I think they did this past off season, which is a problem. When you're a team that has needs and you want to continue to, you got to make the roster better, but you got to do it in a way that makes sense going forward each and every year. You got to just not have the mindset of just this year. You got to have the mindset of hey, what's next offseason going to be like if we spend this amount of money? You got to budget that out. Sean Payton, my opinion, just hasn't done the greatest job budgeting that out. And the Saints fans, I think, will tell you that.
There you go, man. I know you keep pointing back to that. Everyone keeps pointing back to that, man. Oh, Sean Payton, he's gonna rack up our cap, and then he's gonna leave us high and dry, and then we're gonna all suffer. But I understand, man. They're not in a good position. They did mortgage a little bit. They're in a bad position. They're not going to be the only team. Guys, I can tell you right now, the Jets have absolutely mortgaged in order to try to get Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. They're going to be paying for him years after he's gone, something that I hope the Broncos don't get into doing as well. Say hello to a couple other friends in the chat and in the posse. Mr. Matt Staffiero. What's up, gents? What's up to you as well, Matt? Good to see you, man. Always good to have you in the chat, buddy. He's saying, Guts telling me Bo Nix is the pick if they stay at number 12. All right, bud. Well, we threw a lot of names up there. We were talking about, the possibility of PS2 being traded, being that trade bait out there and being able to move up. But there's also the possibility that doesn't happen, that we don't trade up, that we stick at 12 or we even trade back. So let's start talking about the possibilities. What do you think at Bo Nix at number 12?
Yeah, I think it's certainly a possibility. Again, if they really truly believe that's their guy, they got, and again, everybody's got to be on board with it. I don't just want Sean Payton to be on board with it. You need everybody, George Payton, ownership, everybody's gonna be on board with it, because you see this in a lot of organizations. It comes out later when the picks end up failing. There's one guy that really likes this quarterback, but then the other guy's not so hot on him. No, you need to come together, collab together, and come together on that decision. It's such an important position and a pick to pick at for Denver. Yes, I do think Bo Nix is absolutely in play at 12. I still think he goes in the first round. A lot of people say, "Oh, Senior Bowl, yeah, he wasn't great there." Well, I don't think he hurt his stock too much. Again, you still have the combine, you still have his pro day. We have so much more that truly zones in on what he does best. It's not, you don't need to do that at the Senior Bowl. You can't make that judgment just off a few practices at the Senior Bowl. We'll see how he does this weekend as well. But again, there's different evaluations. There's a tape, there's a Senior Bowl, there's his pro day, and then there's the combine. There's different evaluations for him. So yeah, I think Nix is definitely in play there at 12. But again, don't count on Denver still moving back as well. If they think Bo Nix can slide a little bit into the 20s, don't be surprised if they move back and Bo Nix is still their guy there.
Yeah, Bo Nix is a guy that I looked off right at the bat, man. Was a guy that I was pretty high on. I know that he struggled throughout his college career, but came on late, and a lot of people question that. A lot of people have questions about Bo Nix. If you don't mind, the reason I'm stretching over here is because we got Mr. Scoops coming in here, and he's registering for our giveaway, and I got to write his name down over here, and the list is getting too long, so got to reach a little bit, so I might be off mic for a second. There's Scoops. All right, we got him on there, man. Congratulations, Scoops. Hope you good luck on the giveaway, man. I appreciate the entry and appreciate you going on to YouTube and being part of the show as well. So a lot of talk in the comment. Kenny Kirkpatrick says RG3 and Kirk Cousins are most recently Trey Lance and Brock Purdy come to mind, with coaches not on board with the game on QBs in the draft. Talking a little bit about what you were talking about, where, hey, not all personnel is on board. He's saying RG3 and Kirk Cousins, an organization that drafted two quarterbacks really high in the same year and put them on the same roster. Kind of wild. Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, another one that maybe comes into mind. Trey Lance, I could definitely see. I don't know if Mr. Irrelevant is ever really discussed to the point where it's like, hey, I wasn't on board with that, but I get what you're saying. But Trey Lance, obviously, one that they quickly moved on from, and Brock Purdy elevates right to the top. So, it would be nice to have everybody on board. I think that George Payton has a fantastic mind. I think he's good at what he does, especially in the scouting on collegiate athletes. You know what I mean? So, I think he's done a good job there. But when you don't have everybody on board, sometimes you might pass on a Josh Allen. You never know. So,
oh, what a hit.
I'm just saying. it was there, and that was certainly the rumor in Denver is there was some people on board and some people that weren't. And that being said, we didn't end up going the Josh Allen route. You brought up a good question, man. I want to hit this, and then we can get into maybe some of these other prospects as well. The tape, the Senior Shrine Bowl, the Combine, the Pro Day. Do you have a preference? What do you like to watch? Where do you put weight? How do you utilize each one? What's your thoughts on that? Because as the conversation went, Bo Nix goes out and he has a pretty dang good season this year. Didn't put up bad stats. It's the reason he's sitting at the top of the draft board. But then goes out to the Senior Bowl and in practice. Are we talking about practice? Practice? Anyway, in practice, it doesn't look so good. What does that mean? What does that mean for you? And what does it mean then to have a pro day and a combine after this?
Yeah, so the Senior Bowl, especially this year, because they didn't start 7-on-7 till like the third day, and it's like you should start 7-on-7 a lot sooner than that. Probably second day, you should probably start 7-on-7, or even a little bit later, the later part of the first day. But Senior Bowl to me, it's just a small sample size of what it gives. You have nothing really to hurt yourself as a prospect, in my opinion. You're not going to get hurt too bad at Senior Bowl, your stock, and that's what I'm talking about. Their stock. Each prospect stock is not going to hurt drastically at the Senior Bowl because it's such a small sample size. What the Senior Bowl, in my opinion, is an all-star game, right? So your potential stock is to rise. You can possibly get there. Again, Baker Mayfield did it back, when he was drafted. You can get this. Your stock can go up. I don't think it can go. It can go down. The pro day and the combine are huge. That really highlights. And give us the first person to see like where are these guys? Can they hit these routes? Also, these guys haven't probably been on the field, in a while. They haven't seen game action. Now they've seen that action, so now going forward, they can continue to get prepped and ready for the combine and for the pro days. And they're more set up for their strengths. And when it comes to the Senior Bowl, I just don't feel like they're set up for the strengths, and that's understandable. Again, we need to see, can Bo Nix be under center? Can he do that efficiently? A lot of different players. We need to see what can they do, what can they not do. I understand that, but again, I don't think every prospect gets their highlight per se. Like they don't get like, oh, the camera's focused on him. Let's see what he can do. At the combine, that's what it is. So I put more stock into that and onto the tape more than I do the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl. I don't put a ton of stock into that because a lot of times, and I'll say this too. You'll get those evaluations, but it's more in the classroom. It's what they do on the board. How do they press in the meeting rooms? That's what, to me, more what the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl is more than anything. Not necessarily just what they do on the field, what they do in the classroom. Well, that's what will impress going forward. The combine and pro days, then that's when they get to see what they can do on the field.
I left this comment up here by Matt because I think it made a lot of sense, especially with what you're talking about. It's practice in an unfamiliar setting. I'm sorry. In my opinion, he's the best fit for Peyton's offense. Quick reads, screen passes, average depth of route, sub 7 yards. Let the game tape tell the story. So, like he said, you got to rely on that game tape a little bit more, in my opinion. Practice is practice. It is a great way to see, guys a little bit more up close, a little bit more personal. I like what you were saying. Interviews, whiteboard sessions. There's one guy, might as well get into it, that's been talked about, a little bit as of lately, because he's got a couple of interviews from the Denver Broncos. Now, this would be a later round pick. Talk about one Mr. Pratt.
Yeah, so Michael Pratt came out, and I think he was telling Andrew Mason that he had two interviews with the Denver Broncos at the Senior Bowl. First thoughts from that would be, that's great. They're evaluating every quarterback in this draft hard because they know that's the position, that's the number one position of need for this team going into this offseason, and they need to figure out if their quarterback features in this class or not. My thing with Pratt is, I think, again, he just, his accuracy, it really, really bothers me. And again, he might go from the third round to the fourth round. Is that a guy we really want to bank on being this team's franchise quarterback? The numbers show a lot of it. Look at what's in the Super Bowl right now. Yeah, you have Mahomes, and I know Purdy's Mr. Irrelevant, but throughout this playoffs, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, first round quarterbacks. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying Denver absolutely has to take one in the first round, but the success rate of first rounders is a lot more than where they're at in the third and fourth round. So again, for me with Pratt, it's just his accuracy. I think in his ceiling, I don't think he's got a high ceiling. He doesn't do anything elite, in my opinion, like the rest of those guys do. Like with Penix, you can say I think he's got elite accuracy for the most part. With Nix, I think he's freakishly athletic, and he's got that's where his elite traits are, is his athleticism. Daniels, athleticism. Caleb Williams, he's an improviser. He can get outside the pocket, make plays of where they're not usual plays, and can get outside the pocket. Drake Maye, he's got the arm everybody wants and the size that everybody wants. He's a Josh Allen, Justin Herbert type quarterback. He can really sling it. All these guys got those elite traits about him, but Michael Pratt to me just doesn't. I mean, in my opinion, and again, he'll be solid for you. Maybe he might be a maybe starting quarterback, but a fringe starting quarterback more or less is what his upside is. My opinion. I just don't see those elite traits, and I just I want if I'm going to take a quarterback, I think I want to take one a little higher than there in the third and fourth round and say, oh, there's my guy, the future going forward. He's probably a guy for a season, but you're probably reevaluating next year's draft if you're taking a quarterback with Michael Pratt in this year's draft.
Everything you just got done saying, I was trying to think about it, and all of a sudden I started hearing comparables go through my head. Michael Pratt or Mac Jones? Yeah. Which one would you go, or is it a 50-50 coin toss at that point?
Again, is there a plan C?
No, I'm not saying this is your end all solution. I'm just saying,
yeah.
Is that a good comparable? Or do you lean one way or the other? Do you think Pratt has more upside or more potential, or do you think? I know that we've already seen a couple of years of Mac Jones, so that kind of taints the water a little bit. But is that a good comparison? Are you leaning one way or the other?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison. I think because Mac Jones doesn't really have an elite trait, in my opinion, either. Although I will say, and it's hard to say that I could compare to Mac Jones because Mac Jones has actually had success somewhat in the NFL, and I don't think he's had a fair amount of the coaches haven't really been on his side. You had Bill O'Brien as your offensive coordinator. I mean, that's not a recipe for success. I think Mac Jones has been unfairly kind of treated there in New England. So I think it's a good comparison for now, but I'm not going to give up on Jones. I would more take probably Mac Jones over Pratt, in my opinion.
Okay, there you go. We got Kenny's coming in. He wants to flip a 3-sided coin with Jones and Pratt, and then just take option C. I love it. Well, we hit on it, or you hit on it a little bit. I want to get to this. We talked about the PS2 and the trade up. There's really 3 guys that have been named, as far as being those top 3 off the board, right? We got Mr. Michael Penix. No, I'm just kidding. Williams, wow. We have Maye, and we have Daniels, right? If we were going to trade up, hypothetically, and the option was there to pick one of these 3, which way is Trevor, the Rocket Man Salzman, coming in as the GM and pounding the table and saying, Sean Payton, this is the direction you need to go?
What were you saying? Sorry, you cut out.
It's okay, man. You got those top 3 picks, man. You're those top 3 quarterbacks. Yeah. You being the GM, you being the guy talking to Sean Payton, which direction are you pounding the table to go?
I want Jayden Daniels. I think Jayden Daniels, in my opinion, he's got the most upside in this draft class, and he, to me, would be the guy that I think has the best chance to be the best quarterback throughout this whole class when we take a look at it here in the next few years. Jayden Daniels, I just think, his upside it's unmatched, in my opinion. I like Caleb Williams, but up to a certain degree. I think he's more of a Kyler Murray than he is ever a Patrick Mahomes. I'm not comparing anybody to Patrick Mahomes in this draft class because there's a certain standard to that. And so I would say Jayden Daniels, to me, just his upside is just, man, it's something that just doesn't come around that often, in my opinion. And I think the right situation he goes into and has some weapons around him, this is a guy that I think could really, really flourish year one. And with those other guys, I think they might struggle. Caleb Williams, if he goes to Chicago, I don't think will struggle as much because he'll have weapons around him. But again, I just like Drake Maye. I think I could see him struggling if he goes to New England. If he goes to Atlanta, probably not. He's got weapons there. But again, Jayden Daniels to me has the most upside, just his mobility and just he can do a little bit of everything, and he's got those elite traits. Again, he's very athletic quarterback. I'm in the NFL and I'm a GM. I want an athletic quarterback. I don't want these pocket passing quarterbacks, kind of just aren't mobile at all. Just sit back in the pocket and that's it. I think that time is kind of starting to pass a little bit, in my opinion. Look at all these elite quarterbacks right now. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. They can run. They can take off and run at any time. Is that their most elite traits? Not all of them. That just their ability to do that. When back in the day with Manning and Brady, that wasn't something that we seen. We seen more pocket passing quarterbacks.
Michael's coming in. Maybe he missed a little bit, but quarterback Joe Milton had a good 3 days at the Senior Bowl, and he wants to. Oh yeah, we were talking about Pratt. I'm sorry, I'm getting names mixed up. We have a ton of them, man. But Tennessee quarterback Joe Milton did have a good 3 days down at the Senior Bowl practice, man. He wants our thoughts on, Mr. Joe Milton. I'll start off with you, Trevor. Man, it seems like you've deep dived on a lot of these guys, so I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Mr. Joe Milton?
Yeah, again, I love his size. I mean, he's the ideal size, 6'5", 235 pounds. I mean, ideal size is there for sure. The wingspan is there. He's intriguing quarterback prospect for sure. Again, he's a 5th round quarterback, though. I don't know how much you really want to invest into that and say, oh, that's our future quarterback. I think it'd be great for competition for sure. But can you really bank on that going forward? I'm not sure. My thing with him is the deep ball. His arm, like the deep ball for him is a big concern for me. Again, I think he's pretty accurate over the middle and with short passes, but his long ball is a little inaccurate in my opinion. And that's where I would kind of maybe in the 5th, 6th round, if you have that, if you're there, maybe still available, but I'm not in love with him. Again, his short passes aren't great. Medium's fine. That's probably his more where he excels more is his medium passes over the middle of the field. But again, his size, yeah, for sure. I really, really like his size. Is that your franchise quarterback? I think if Denver's in a situation where I think if you're not sold that this guy's your franchise quarterback or has a good amount of potential to be that guy, you're probably passing on him because that's not solving your need going forward. You might just get that need next year's draft. You got to be 100% sold that's your franchise quarterback. I think in any round you take, because this team is not just in a position where they can just start taking flyers on guys. I mean, you're taking flyers on them, yes, and their potential, but you have other needs that you need to fill in the draft. Sean Payton also likes to trade up. Does he want to stick around in the 5th, 6th round to get a quarterback that is a project?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to do a little bit more looking at Joe Milton before I lay down my my law on him or lay down my evaluation, I guess you could say, Michael. So if you don't mind, just give me a little bit more time. I'll take a look at Joe Milton as well. Try to get prepared, but this is kind of like my part-time gig that I try to do for you guys and try to get prepared as much as possible, but ran out a little bit of time. Wish I would have had a little bit more to get prepared for a question like Joe Milton. I appreciate you, Michael, coming in. By the way, orange and blue hearts, big clapping it up. Appreciate you very much, sir. Kenny's coming in and saying, all joking aside, these strong quarterback classes usually produce 1 to 2 franchise QBs, a couple of decent guys and a couple of busts and 1 sleeper. So yeah, it's the reason I don't want to just quote unquote handcuff Sean Payton, say you have to stay at 12. If you have that opportunity, as much as it hurts, believe me, guys, I love PS2. I think he's amazing. I think he's undervalued. I think Sauce Gardner is overvalued when there's those comparisons put up there. PS2 is just a lockdown corner. Nothing, just no ifs, ands, and doubts about it. So I just, there's times that you have to do that. There's a reason that we ended up with Champ Bailey. There's a reason Clinton Portis wasn't our all-time leading running back. There's the reasons that we have to move on sometimes. And if we have to move on in order to try to get that quarterback, because we don't want to ever be in this position of picking 12 or better again, I say then we have to go do it. We have to go do it. By the way, I'm going to completely agree with you, man. If I'm picking anywhere in the top 3, heck, if I'm Chicago and I'm picking number 1, I'm going Mr. Jaden Daniels. he's my top pick in the draft. I know that there's been a lot of risers and fallers, and we'll continue to see that. And it'll all start even like this weekend with Senior Bowl, and the next thing you know, like you said, combines and pro days, and next thing you know, the draft will be right around the corner. But that being said, there's a lot of opportunity for these guys to show up, show out, and fall down. So that being said, Kenny Kirkpatrick just says he has a feeling that Penix and Nix may be busts. And I want to get your thoughts on this, kind of going off the side. Michael Ronquillo's coming in saying Oregon Ducks center Jackson Powers Johnson is a beast. Man, what do you think about Jackson Powers Johnson? And that being said, man, there's a good possibility we'll be moving on from a center.
That's why. And I brought this name up, I believe, when me and Kenny did the mock draft, or maybe a couple shows ago. I brought this, this
over on the Fantastic K&K Sports Show.
Yeah, absolutely. Jackson Powers Johnson, he's a guy that's quickly rising up the boards, though. I don't know, second round, I don't know if he's going to be there, guys. I don't know. If you want this guy, you might have to move. This might be a situation where Denver passes on a quarterback in the first round and maybe trades back into the first round to get this guy. I agree, he is a beast. I've seen clips of him practicing at the Senior Bowl. He just so good in the pass pro and a real elite run blocker, in my opinion, as well. Just, you don't see centers like this often come out of the draft like this, and he might be your next generational center, honestly. And that's saying a lot, because I don't value centers a ton, but he's a guy that's like first round grade. I mean, he's starting to really rise up boards, and I could see a team really fall in love with him. And in fact, the Steelers, I think they picked at 21. They're actually met with him today, so that kind of tells you a little bit of where they're thinking and where he might fall into. I mean, Denver needs a center. This would be a great guy to have on this roster and to really fill that center role. I mean, again, him, Miners, right there beside each other. Wow, that would be a heck of a combination.
Wouldn't it be, though? Wouldn't it be? Along those lines, right before we went on the air, or at least today, I tried to be caught up as much as possible. I saw that Ryan Jensen, a center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the last 8 years, has announced his retirement. So another team that'll be in desperate need for a center as well. So we have Pearl coming in, agreeing with Kenny when he was saying that he was thinking that Penix and Nix could be busts, Pearl saying, I'm with you as well. Plus, the injuries disturb me. Certainly, I understand that. I want to hit this because there's a little bit of talk in here. Kenny's saying, and just another quarterback that we could throw in there. There is a QB1 taken in the middle of the rounds, and that's Spencer Rattler. He's been in 2 completely different systems, and I think he is pro ready. Michael Ronquillo saying Spencer Rattler from South Carolina. So let's hit that really quick. Before I do that, I want to say aloha to our good friend Patrick Wiltsey. Aloha. I'll tell you what, little Kona coffee right here, a little Lion coffee. Check out Lion Coffee, guys. I'm telling you, best blend I've had. I've fallen in love. I had to reordering here shortly, man. I'm blowing through the supply I have. So aloha to you, Patrick Wiltsey. But Spencer Rattler, talking about another name that's kind of been chatted up, moving up. Hopefully he did well in those interviews, in those whiteboard sessions, because what he put on the field, people were kind of impressed with. What are your thoughts around Spencer Rattler that Kenny and Michael are bringing up?
Yeah, this is a guy that I would probably take a chance on. Probably the one quarterback I would actually take a chance on in the middle rounds. This guy, he could actually go up to 3. Up to round 3. I don't think he goes up any further than that as of right now. But unless, we have pro days and combine coming up, so that can absolutely change in a ton of time before the draft right now. But Rattler, to me, round 3 quarterback, round 4 quarterback, had a lot of upside. And this guy was 4 or 5 star rated here when he, in college. And he was just, I really like his deep ball. Again, the guy that can really throw a great deep ball, in my opinion, has elite deep ball downfield. Really good over the middle of the field as well. Athletic as well. He's not just your typical pocket passing quarterback. He's a guy that can get outside the pocket, pretty athletic, and a guy that I think kind of flashed a little bit of his upside while in college. His first season, a guy that was up for a couple big awards there in college. So this is a guy, in my opinion, that would Yeah, I would absolutely take a chance on. Again, just got to see where his maturity is at because he did have some off
Yeah.
the field issues. Got to see where his maturity is at going forward, and can he handle the NFL? The NFL is a different animal from college. Can he handle that going forward? We'll see. Again, I don't think he starts day one for any team. I'll make that point out right now. Next, I mean, 2025, different situation, but probably not starting day one. And but I do think that you can, you can definitely take a chance on him. And he's one of those guys in the middle of the rounds that one of the quarterbacks that I really like that has the most upside, in my opinion, the most to gain going forward with the combine and his pro day because he could really start shooting up boards, in my opinion. So yeah, I absolutely like that pick from Kenny, and I'd be intrigued for sure with Rattler over Pratt.
Oh, there you go. Rattler over Pratt. Already given a little bit of prediction over there, at least a seating before we get into those pro days, the combine, the like. Pearl's coming in here saying, "Tell me a little bit more about him." And yeah, I mean, I'll just add a little bit. I was a big watcher of QB1 when it first came out. QB1 helped propel a lot of guys that were top quarterback prospects. They went behind the scenes. You got to see the ins and outs of their daily life and what practice was like and what home life was like. And unfortunately, Spencer Rattler was probably one of the first guys to be shined on negatively because of QB1. Didn't necessarily project himself all that great. Kind of I don't know how else to put it. Kind of a trust fund type of kid type feel to him. Everything kind of handed to him. Just did not shine very well from the very beginning, and I think it really hurt him rather than help him, like a QB1 did as well. I can tell you though, that was an amazing show because you got to see some of the best quarterback and other athletes out there at the high school level, something you don't get to see a whole lot of. It's not like it's out there being broadcast on ESPN like when they back in the old days when they didn't have a big budget for all this other stuff. But that being said, it was great to see the behind the scenes look, to see what these guys were like, to see their competitive spirit, to see how they interact with coaches, to see just some of the amazing plays that they're able to pull off as they're some of the top talents, but they're still playing in high school. Spencer Rattler absolutely has an arm. Spencer Rattler does have a fire and a passion. So there's a lot of things going for him. And like you said, if that maturity has come around, well, wow, look out because I think he could be a steal in those mid rounds. And I might even agree with you. I still a lot of tape, but might be seated above Pratt, even though Pratt's been getting, all the great attention as of lately. By the way, guys, don't forget about the smoke. A lot of smoke that goes along with all these reports that we start hearing around pro days and combines and interviews. And you don't want to be out there and say, we love this guy. We're going to take him. We would take him in the second round if we had a pick. That's not going to be what we want to be telegraphing out there either. And sometimes you might even say, boy, we're really interested in this guy. Just to try to be waving on the left because you don't want to see what's in the right hand, right? So,
You think? Quick question to that. I'm gonna
yeah.
go off that. Do you think that the rumor that Denver wants to trade up into the top 3 for a quarterback is just smoke? Then.
See, there's that too, right?
Mhm.
There's all of that. There's the hey, we might include PS2. Well, what does that do? Gets a lot of people calling about, what is the possible trade value of a PS2, and you get a lot of ideas and see if it's even a possibility, and it gets the conversation started. So yeah, there could be a lot of smoke, and there could be just a lot of gauging. It could be like those ghost jobs that are out there, where companies just put it out there because they just want to get a bunch of stats and specs and see who's looking and see what the competition looks like and the whole 9 yards. Could be all that as well. It's really tough to judge at this time. I'm just saying, I hope we're not picking at 12 again. I hope we're picking in the 20s for the next 3 years. Hopefully we're picking in the 30s in the next few years. That would be even better. But that being said, if there's the guy, like you said, if everybody's on board, I think you need to go. I think you need to go get that guy. Ernie Mays is on that other side. He's he wants more picks. Would you trade PS2 for more picks? No, probably not.
Well, but you may see some other players gone for more picks, though. Keep that in mind. We still have free agency and everything else coming up, and if certain guys don't restructure their contracts, there might be some other guys that might be on the move for more picks. I don't know that Denver's done adding picks. I mean, George Payton's talked about it quite a bit lately, and he said at his presser he made a point to talk about it. Now, I don't think that just means trading down. I think that they may end up moving on from some current players to try to get more picks into this draft.
I was looking over all the names that I had written down. I know we're getting about to time to wrap up here pretty shortly. The only ones I see that we hadn't talked about that I can see. Oh no, we did talk about Milton. How about JJ McCarthy? I don't think we talked about too much about JJ McCarthy, a guy that obviously just came off winning a national championship. One of the youngest prospects, though, that's been entered into the draft. What are your thoughts around JJ McCarthy, since he's one of the names in there as well? And by the way, Pearl's with you as far as I think she's either with you or she's with Ernie as far as wanting more picks. And she's saying JJ first, please. I like him. So what are your thoughts on JJ? Is JJ the answer?
Yeah, I for me again, I just not sold on JJ McCarthy. I have not. I watched him, national championship game again. When your team runs for 300 yards, you're gonna probably win that game more than likely. You're dominating in the run game. They were so run heavy with him. Like yeah, he made some throws when he needs to at times, but can he do that? Can he take that step up in the NFL draft? It goes back to the whole conversation of, is he your franchise quarterback? You're not just taking JJ McCarthy because it's JJ McCarthy. You're taking him because you truly believe he's your franchise quarterback. Can he do what he didn't do in college in the NFL? That's my biggest concern with him. He's got a lot of talent. Yeah, absolutely. He's got a lot of upside. He's also one of the younger quarterbacks in the draft. So does Sean Payton want that rawness from a quarterback? Does he want that to develop that? He hasn't developed a quarterback, but some of these guys like Bo Nix are older. They've been through all this, kind of adversity throughout college.
Multiple systems. Yep.
Yeah, multiple systems, and they've gotten better. Is JJ McCarthy? When is he gonna get better? When is he gonna peak? Is it 3 or 4 years from now? I mean, that's why I say he's a guy that I think will go in the second round. I think from everything right now, he's a guy that probably projects as a second round pick. So if Denver can't get Bo Nix, maybe they do have to go after McCarthy. Again, I don't want them to force it if they're not 100% sold he's their guy. And I'm just really concerned with his age. Is he ready to go right now? I don't think he's ready to go. I think you're taking him, and he's probably sitting a year, maybe even 2, depending on where he's at. I just got a lot of concerns with JJ McCarthy. Again, upside for sure is there. A lot of concerns, and I don't know that I would take that, take him right there, even in the second round. You got so many different needs. I think I'd pass JJ McCarthy.
Kenny's coming in saying JJ McCarthy reminds me of Zach Wilson. If you rush him into playing, it could fail miserably. Backing up from what Pearl was coming in, she was offering up Jerry Jeudy on the trade blocks first. I still think she likes JJ McCarthy as well, though. Michael Ronquillo coming in, like you said, all those draft simulators, all the ways to try to get up into that number 1 pick or into the top picks in the draft. You've been finding it dang near impossible and giving up the farm. Michael's coming in and saying 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, 1 third-round pick, and PS2 is the only way the Bears will pick up the phone to trade the number 1 pick on the 2024 NFL draft. I mean, let's face it, they are sitting there in the bird seat. They get to dictate. They get to have everyone calling them, and they don't have to rush anything. They can sit there. Worst case scenario, what do? Pick the best quarterback and have Justin Fields as a tradable asset. I mean, it's not the worst situation. They are sitting pretty dang good, and people know it, and they know it. It's going to take quite a bit. It's going to take quite a bit to get that number 1 pick. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few people that are jostling to try to get there, which is only going to raise that up. Now, 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds, 1 third, and PS2. I mean, to pick up the phone, I think they pick up the phone before that. But in order to get that deal done, I don't think you're going to be too far off from what you're talking about there, Mr. Michael Ronquillo. That's a lot closer than some of the things I've seen floated out there. That is just, quite honestly, in my opinion, wishful thinking. If you think you're going to get away with giving away your first round pick this year and maybe one next year and a couple other picks here and there, and all of a sudden you're at the number one, it's not going to happen that easy, gentlemen. It's not going to happen. And ladies and gentlemen. Time rolls, buddy. Time rolls fast. I can't believe this, man. It's a good thing we didn't have any other co-hosts on here, though. We're missing Jody. We're missing Albert. Great time for me to maybe throw another plug in, guys. If you're looking for more Denver Bronco Roundup, maybe you're looking for a different face than mine, maybe even Trevor's. We have a couple other co-hosts, and we have 3 other shows. So every Sunday, every Tuesday, every Friday, always at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, just for you guys. Brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. You're probably tuning in through the Rocky Mountain Sports Network or maybe the Denver Bronco Roundup page as well. But guys, like, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're over on YouTube like Scoops did, like Mr. Martin did, and you're getting over there and putting in winner in order to be entered for our giveaway. And guys, keep giving us all the love because we love you guys so much and appreciate it a ton. So that being said, that wasn't even like a goodbye. That's not my final goodbye, but we're almost getting there, man. Trevor, what else do we want to talk about before we get out of here? Or are you about ready to wrap it up and say goodbye?
Yeah, Scoops has a question here. He says, he says, since it was mentioned Justin Fields, I still don't get why they take Caleb only to put him in the same bleep show that Justin Fields has struggled in. Give him Harrison Jr. and the lineman at 9 and let him have a fair go. Well, the thing is, Scoops, with that one is, again, you have to pay Justin Fields in 2 years. You have to pay him a decent amount of money. So the reason why you're the Bears and you're taking a quarterback at 1 or the top 3 would be because you can reset the quarterback market and you get more years of team control. So I agree with you on that one. Yeah, you got to reset that clock. And Justin Fields, what has he proven to this point? There's a reason that they are looking for a quarterback. Justin Fields is not a franchise quarterback right now. He's not proven that. Has he got his fair share? And in Chicago, probably not. But again, sometimes you need a change of scenery. Just kind of like Jerry Jeudy. I think Pearl would really agree with me on that one. But no, I think with Justin Fields, I just think that he'll go to another team. Again, the Falcons, I think, will be interested in him. Possibly Minnesota. I could see a lot of different teams being interested in him, but I disagree. I think you need to take a quarterback 1, whatever quarterback you think is absolutely your franchise quarterback. Reset the clock, and you still have a pick at 9. You can still trade up, and you have other picks to do so. You can still trade up, get that offensive lineman or wide receiver.
I'm still sticking to my guns. I think the Bears double dip. I think they go Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison back to back. They trade with Washington to get to the number 2 spot, and Washington gets Justin Fields in number 9 and probably a handful of other picks or players in order to get there. So I like that mindset, and think about that, man. All of a sudden you get Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, all the weapons in Chicago. You've reset the quarterback clock. I think you're sitting pretty dang pretty, and you didn't give up an arm and a leg to get there. So Pearl Heater coming in saying, great show. Ernie Mays saying, this is awesome. You know what, Ernie Mays, this is awesome. You're awesome, man. And that's the reason this show is so awesome, is because you guys are out there being our fans, tuning in, being in the comments, hopefully sharing. Guys, I can't get over that I can't express that any larger. Sharing and getting us out to more fans and having us grow and get even bigger, man. We appreciate that a ton. Kenny's coming in and saying, let me say, since our good friend and co-host Jody isn't here, in Russ we trust. So just stirring the pot, Kenny, stirring the pot. Appreciate it so much. Scoop's coming in here and say, I get resetting the clock, but I just think he's got to have more than a shot than he's had a chance to prove. Understand your point for sure. And also coming in and saying, thanks all for an amazing show and for responding to my 48 messages. Laugh out loud. No, guys, we love to be interactive. Love to have the time to be in here and talking with you guys and answering your questions and talking with Pearl and maybe giving her some information on a Spencer Rattler, or where we think the best guys are and what we should be doing and having all this great conversation. You guys absolutely rock. Trevor, why don't you say some goodbyes before I say my goodbyes as well, and we'll wrap up a show. Fantastic show.
Yeah, again, fantastic show, Keith. Appreciate you and appreciate everybody here in Broncos country for joining us. So you guys are amazing. This is what we do. We put in the work for you guys. So it means the world when you like, share, subscribe, comment. We love it. We love the interaction. This is what makes our show. It'd be boring if we just stuck to our topics the whole show. We love interaction with you guys. We love interacting with you guys. You guys' questions, getting you guys' feedback, everything, the whole 9 yards. Again, continue to share it, guys. It really, because truly, we have a lot of big plans coming for DBR. It really, and it's going to start Sunday. Have a Around the Horn show Sunday, so stay tuned to that one for sure. But no, we have so many great shows coming up. We have a draft show coming up. We have free agency coming up. We've got so many exciting ideas. Keith goes out to training camp, guys. This guy. Again, we have so many different things that is going on here at DBR. We have such amazing work going on. A lot of hard work comes into it. So again, continue to support the show and just continue to show us love because we really support it. Get us out to more Broncos fans because, again, the DBR here, there's nothing else like it, guys. The Royalty Roundup. The Roundup Royalty. It's so amazing. You guys are part of it, and we want to continue to add more people to it. So continue to share us, guys, and we really appreciate you guys. Much love, Broncos country, and have a great night.
Not to steal anybody's identity or intellectual properties, we will be having the Around the Horseshoe on Sunday night, man. That's a little spoiler right there, or a little Around the Horseshoe. If anybody knows what I'm getting at there, that's our teaser. If you held to the end, that's what you get, bud. That's what you get, everybody. So, man, I tell you what, appreciate you guys so much. Just a couple of last comments coming in. Michael Ronquillo just dropping names, man, left and right. Look out for wide receiver Luke McCaffrey. Watch out for wide receiver Ladd McConkey. And yeah, he had some fantastic catches. If you want to go out there and find some coverage of the Senior Bowl practice. He also likes Western Kentucky wide receiver Malachi Corley. Just giving me all the names that I can go out there and make my top 10 list with. I appreciate it so much, Michael. I don't have to go any further. Michael's got me covered. Appreciate you so much. Kenny's coming in and saying, keep up the amazing work. Exactly. Interaction is awesome, man. Interaction because of you guys. So appreciate it. Running through all these real quick. Your hard work doesn't go unnoticed, and just honored you guys include me on your shows, man. Honored that you even considered coming on our shows, and appreciate everything that Kenny does over at the K&K Sports Show, guys. K&K Sports Show, you need to check those guys out. Pearl saying I can donate some real hot shots, laugh out loud, and she's saying horseshoes instead of hot shots. So yeah, maybe I could get a horseshoe lined up on my back wall back here, and be part of the horseshoe as well, the Around the Horseshoe. Guys, I already hit it once before, but we appreciate you guys a ton. Thank you guys, everybody that's been in the comments. I don't have time to run through all the names, but I can tell you whether it was Kenny or Pearl or Michael or Martin or Graham or you name it, guys. You guys were just rocking it in here. We had Roy was in here earlier, trying to remember a few names, but guys, every single one of you, appreciate you guys a ton. You guys are absolutely amazing. Remember to catch the Denver Bronco Roundup again every Tuesday, Sunday, Friday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Hey, like, share, and if you're hitting that subscribe button, don't have to worry. You're going to get that notification when we go live, guys. We're available on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. So if you're looking to take us on the go, let's do it. Take us on the go, man. Uploaded typically within just hours of the end of the pod. So certainly available for you next morning. Take you, to work, on your jog, on your walk, wherever you want to go, man. Hopefully it's someplace fun. That being said, guys, we're going to go get all prepared for a Sunday show that seems like it's just going to be right around the corner. Who knows what the topics are going to be? If you're following all our pages, you're probably going to figure it out, and we'll let you know as well. Guys, it's been a fantastic show. Appreciate you being part of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Also, Rocky Mountain Sports Network, RockyMountainSN.com, guys. That's the mothership. Make sure that you're following, liking, and sharing, subscribing to them as well. And boy, guys, we're going to get out of here. Again, thank you so much. Make sure you keep your boots in the stirrups. Keep your guns. Did I do that right? Yeah.
Your feet.
Oh, boy. Feet in your stirrups. Keep your guns in your holsters. Of course, keep the Broncos in your heart. And guys, thank you so much. We're going to be out of here. See you again soon. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. Go home.